Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of Digital Fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn, and today I have a very special video for you because the Wonders of the First collectible card game has partnered with a website called 𝐻𝐼𝑒, spelled 𝐻𝐼𝑒.io, to bring us a card database and deck builder. Now, for those of you who have been playing Magic the Gathering for a while, you'll probably know exactly what this is. This is similar to things like Mox Field or Aether Hub that are used for Magic the Gathering, but 𝐻𝐼𝑒 itself is actually host to multiple card games, the most notable of which right now is Sorcery Contested Realm. And now they're partnering with Wonders of the First so that we have a card database and deck builder for that game, which is absolutely monumental moving forward. I have so many crazy deck ideas that I'm trying to brew, and now that we have a database and a place to build those decks and share them with the community, it's just such a weight off my shoulders. It's going to enable so much more creative theory crafting, and I can't wait to get to work using this website. Now, for those of you who don't know, I am a Magic the Gathering content creator, but I am also a Wonders of the First content creator. I already have a review of the game as well as a couple of deck techs live on the channel right now with gameplay showing the decks in action. So if you're interested in seeing my take on the game, seeing the game in action, I'm going to link those in the description and in the comments so you guys can check those out. But I'm really excited to dig into 𝐻𝐼𝑒 here and see everything that it has to offer for Wonders of the First. And also, there is a way that you can take these decks directly from the 𝐻𝐼𝑒 database and start playing them online against real players right now. So make sure you stick around till the end of the video where I unveil exactly how to do that. So when you first arrive, the homepage is going to look something like this. You can get here by typing wondersofthefirst.play.𝐻𝐼𝑒 into your search bar. I'm going to link that in the description and in a pinned comment for you guys so that you can find this a lot easier. But the first thing you'll notice here is that there's this event tab that they want you to check out, and we're very briefly going to go over this before we dig into the meat and potatoes of the cards database and the deck builder, because I think it's interesting that this site has this additional functionality. So if we click on the events tab, you'll see that we have a search bar here, and we can enter in different search criteria to find tournaments that have happened or will happen for Wonders of the First. We're going to go all the way back to January 1st here, and that's going to bring up every single tournament that has happened throughout 2024. The only one that actually happened was the Wonders at the National 2024 tournament that happened back in July. And if we click that, we can get additional information about this tournament. So, as you can see, this happened on Saturday, July 27th. We have information on prizing, where participation was a free sealed starter deck and autographed playtest card. First place was a first edition booster box, second place was a first edition mini booster box, and top 8 got a starter kit. We see when the entry time was, the start time, the max capacity, and the entered capacity. We get all of the basic details about that tournament, which is pretty interesting. We can also click on the Swiss tab and actually get detailed information about each round of the tournament, what the pairings were like, who won and who lost. We can go all the way back to round 1 here, or we can go all the way forward to round 4. And of course, we see our dude 𝐾𝐫𝐬 here, who was the champion at the tournament, who is the reigning champion right now. He used Dragon Dynasty to get that win. And if you're interested, we did actually do a deck tech breakdown with full gameplay for Dragon Dynasty back when he won this tournament, so that you could see that deck in action. So we have that deck up on the channel right now, full gameplay. If you want to see that deck tech in action, that is linked in the description and in the comments, so definitely check that out. But props here to 𝐾𝐸 for winning this tournament. Very, very cool. And if you click on the deck building tab, you can actually see all of the participants, and later on there's going to be additional functionality where you're going to be able to see these deck lists for these participants and what they were using in order to achieve their top spots and where they placed in the tournament, which I think is really cool. We can also go over to the rankings tab, and all of those events are actually feeding rankings for Wonders of the First. And they have it divided up here by constructed and sealed. Now, technically, the tournament that happened at the Nationals was a sealed tournament. People were able to pick their sealed pre-constructed deck and use those to battle against each other for top spots. And as we go down here, we can actually see the rankings that we have and the ELO score that those players have in order to achieve those rankings. So we do see Caden Collier here in first place with 1,560 ELO score. And then we can see Ian Griffin is in second, and so on and so forth. So pretty cool that you have access to this at any time, anywhere. You can see what the current standings are for the worldwide tournament structure, what tournaments happened, what tournaments are happening, what ELO scores different players have. I think it's some really cool functionality that I'm excited that they included in this. But the real meat and potatoes, what we really want to get to here is the card database. So let's click on cards, and it actually brings up the entire database, the entire collection, every card in existence, pardon the pun, for Wonders of the First. And you can scroll over these and bring up bigger versions of the cards so that you can read them and see what they do. And then we have full searchable functionality. So if you go over here, you can actually click different orbitals to search for in particular. And orbitals are a lot like the colors in Magic the Gathering. So these are the archetypes that you're going to use to build your decks around or to combine with other orbitals to come up with your custom decks. We also have card names that you can search. You can use card text. You can do card types such as item, land, spell, token, tracker, or wonder. We have hierarchy, where we have legendary cards or primary, secondary, or token. Whereas in deck building, you can only have one legendary, up to 2 primaries, or up to 3 secondary cards in any one given deck. We have classes listed here. That's every single class that is on a wonder in the existence set. We also have factions, which details all of the different factions that these wonders can belong to. So as you can see, the search criteria is pretty extensive. It even says core or not core, because some of these cards require a specific core of their orbital, which means you can't play those cards unless you have a land corresponding to the same color orbital already in play. We've also got rarity, which you can search by, which is actually really interesting because there's common, uncommon, and rare, like we'd sort of expect with any card game, but you also have mythic and an additional rarity here in epics. So pretty cool that you can sort by rarity there as well. And then at the very bottom, you can sort by different sets. Of course, existence is the first set and the only set at this time. But still, it's pretty awesome that we have access to the entire database of cards. If you're looking to build a deck, if you're looking to theory craft, figure out what kind of cards are out there that have synergies with the types of decks that you're looking to build, you can find all of that here, easily searchable. And this lets you just go wild with ideas and really figure out what you can build and what you can't build and how they're going to pan out without having to worry about going through Google searching or extensive searches online. It's all just right here in the database. So for example, if I wanted to build a deck where I'm looking to play a wonder that can also kill an opposing wonder at the same time when I play it, I could search up something like target wonder in the card text. And that's going to bring up all my options. And maybe, just maybe, I want to try to build it in Umbra theme. We have all of our options that come up here that meet that criteria. Flying Suzzer in particular is the one that I'm interested. We see that popped up. This is a 2-cost, 2-power wonder with flying, and on arrival you get to put X-1 counters on target wonder, where X is the number of cards you own in the Abyss. Now, if you get an opposing wonder to less than 0 power, if it has more counters on it than what its power is, it will actually die and go straight to the Abyss. I want to be able to kill things with Flying Suzzer. In order to do that, I need to make sure I have as many cards in the Abyss as possible. So I want to find cards that are going to help me do that. So now that I know I want Flying Suzzer, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to search for the word Abyss. You know what? I'm going to do one better. We're actually going to type in the keyword deny. because Deny is an ability that lets us mill cards from the top of our deck into our discard pile, into the Abyss, and it's probably the best way to fill it up quick. So we're going to look up Deny. We're going to unclick Umbrathine to see if there's anything that has a Deny ability in any other orbital at all. So we have a bunch in Umbrathine. We also see one pop up for Patria here. This is Slade Darkfur. 5 cost, 4 power, requires a core. It has a tuned Patria, which means if we have a Patria land out, we can actually play this without using up an action. But the most important part here is on battle, the first time it battles each round, we get to deny 1. And if the denied card is a wonder, we give target wonder -X this round, where X is the denied wonder's power. So this kind of does everything we want to do in our deck. Not only is this another way to give -X power to something and possibly kill an opposing wonder, but it's helping us to deny in the process and fill up our Abyss for the Scuzzer. So now I'm starting to get a sense of, okay, I want this deck to be Umbrathine and Patria at the same time. So as you can see, you can really start to go down a rabbit hole, decide exactly what you want your deck to do, and then be able to easily search up things that are going to fulfill that function for you, so you can start to get a really good idea of how your deck is going to start to pan out. I think the card database is really cool, and I'm super excited to start theory crafting and brainstorming. I have so many deck ideas, so this is awesome. But speaking of decks, let's move on to the last part of cardio here, the deck builder. Now, as you can see, you can already go to community decks and see what decks other people in the community have entered. Now, I have some of my own, but we've also got Pink Spore Massacre here, which is a deck that Ramal on the test team has created using Pink Spore Dreamcap. And the Pink Spore Dreamcap actually is better the more of them you use. You can have any number of Pink Spore Dreamcaps in your deck, and on defense, it gets +1 this round for each plant you control. And every Pink Spore Dreamcap is a plant, so it's a pretty interesting idea for a deck. And as we dig into that deck here, we can actually see that Ramal has 27 of these cards in the deck, along with a range of other plant types and other cards that just support the synergies that this deck is trying to do. I'm not going to get too in the weeds with this deck, but as an example of being able to check out community decks, this one's pretty wild, so good on you, Ramal. We're going to go back to decks here, and we're going to check out my decks in particular. So as you see, we can click on this to just build a deck from scratch. I've also got a custom deck that I've started building over here to the right. And then as we scroll down, I've actually built both decks from the starter set, the 2-player starter set that you can have access to playing with immediately. This is a starter set that you can buy that includes both of these decks so that 2 players can start playing against each other right away. So I've actually created both of these decks on Cardio in the deck builder, and there's a good reason for that. Let's dive into Victory Feast here. We actually have one last card we need to add to this deck in order to make it be complete. So we're going to click on the 3 dots up here, and we're going to click Edit. And then we're going to go to our card text, card name. And let's search up the last card that needs to be in this deck, which I believe is Celeria. Celeria? I believe it's Celeria. Right? Yes, Celeria. Add to main deck. That is card number 50. Now the deck is complete with 50 cards. And if you're interested in what this does, this is Celeria Shadowstalker here, 4 cost primary wonder with 2 power. It does require a core, and whenever you seize a stone, this gets +5 this round, and then you destroy target wonder with power less than or equal to the number of stones you control. So really good in a deck that can gain control of a bunch of stones early, start to just nuke the opponent's board. Can get pretty crazy, but that's going to finish this deck. So now that we have all 50 cards in here, we can save it. I'd also like to point out that over here in the main deck section, you can actually see a running tally of how many points the deck is worth. And I'm going to very briefly go over that in just a moment. Let's save the deck. That number that we saw is the DBS point value of the deck. And this card game is doing something really interesting and unique. And honestly, I hope it sets a precedent for other card games moving forward, where their formats are dependent upon a point total, and every single card in the game has a number of points assigned to it. And these aren't point values that are dictated on the card itself. This is something that is online, that is a part of this Cardio database that can be updated over time. And the reason to do this is if a card becomes problematic, you don't need to ban it. You can just jack up the point value of the card so that it takes way more points to include it in your deck, which means the point values of everything else in the deck have to come down significantly to allow room for that card, and you end up having a balanced deck and hopefully a balanced meta because of it. So right now, the most competitive format tops out at 1,500 points, and every single card in the entire existent set has a point value that is prescribed to it on Cardio. So let's check that out. So heading back into the card database here, we can see the entire existent set laid out before us. And below each card name, you'll notice that there is a number next to the card type of the card. For example, A90 Plasma Detonator here has the number 3 next to the word item. That means that this is worth 3 points in the DBS system towards your total deck value. So for each copy of A90 Plasma Detonator that you add to your deck, you're going to increase the point value of your deck by 3. And you can't go over that 1,500 total point value. So if you include more powerful cards in your deck, it's going to take up more points in order to do it. An example of that is this Ethereal Enigmas down here, which, as you can see next to the word Wonder, because it is a Wonder card type, it has an 11 point value. So it'll be worth 11 points in your total deck value, and it'll contribute 11 points to that deck value if you add it into your deck. So the more powerful a card gets, the more points it's worth. And what's cool about this is as cards become more powerful, less powerful over time, the developers can go into Cardio here and they can start adjusting these DBS numbers, adjusting these values. So if something ends up being way too broken, they can just jack up the point value of that card so high that you have to bring down the point values of everything else in the deck in order to balance it out, in order for the deck to still be legal. And in this way, we should be able to avoid outright bans, because we could just jack that point value up that the deck overall becomes balanced with the meta. So we should never have to ban a card. So that's amazing for collectors. You never have to worry about a card being banned. Sure, it might be harder to build a deck with that card in it, but that's for balancing purposes, and that will hopefully keep the meta very balanced moving forward. It will keep collectors happy because they never have to worry about their cards being banned and being useless eventually. I think it is a perfect system in theory, and I can't wait to see how it works in practice after we have some time with these cards once the set officially launches. I can't wait to see how it all pans out in the end. I'm really excited about this aspect of the game. But going back into the deck section, let's head on over to My Decks, and we have Victory Feast here. We can click into Victory Feast, and then we have this other tab we can click in the deck called Metrics, and this is the easiest place to see your total point value for a deck. So this is 877 total points. You can go into anyone's decks that they have on Cardio publicly, and you can actually see that deck, and you can see the point value, and you can see what kind of decks are being competitive at different point values, and it should be pretty interesting. In addition to that, in the metrics tab, we also have a cost curve here where we can see the cost of all of the different spells that we're casting within the deck, and then also a card type breakdown, so we can see what percentage of the deck is lands, wonders, and items. Very interesting statistics here that will really help, I think, with really fine-tuning your deck building eventually. Now, the last thing I want to point out about this is that everything that you're building in Cardio is 100% transferable to Tabletop Simulator. If you click on the 3 dots up here, this last option is Copy TTS Code. You can copy that code directly from Cardio, go over to Tabletop Simulator, in which this game is currently playable right now in Tabletop Simulator, and you can actually use that code to import your deck and just take off running and start playing the deck right away against real people online through Tabletop Simulator. And if you're interested in playing this game on Tabletop Simulator, then look forward to my next video, because I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to take this deck, Victory Feast, I'm going to export it from Cardio, import it into Tabletop Simulator, and then use that video as a way to sort of be a tutorial for you guys on exactly how to play this game through Tabletop Simulator and all of the nuances involved in doing so. Not only that, but I am going to play a full match against someone on the test team, and we're going to see if we can actually manage to pull out a win against someone on the playtest team who knows these cards like the back of their hand. So it should be pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Also, if you want to head to Cardio right now and build your decks, please comment below with your links. Let me know what you're building. Give me a link to what you've built in Cardio. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys can come up with, and maybe it will give me ideas for my own deck techs moving forward, because I have a whole bunch of deck techs on the way for Wonders of the First, and I can't wait to dig in. I'll see you there. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck techs, that's somewhere over there, and if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.